Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports at fanstreamsports.com, the FanStream Sports mobile app for iOS and Android. Go download it for free today to get all of our great live recorded programming on the go. Take with you 24/7, as well as the FanStream Sports YouTube channel and the JP Peterson Show YouTube channel. We're just full of channels and full of outlets here for you, right?
Content, baby. Content.
JP
We're in the
Peterson
content
Show.
business.
We're full of content. Speaking of full of it, we'd like to welcome in our next guest here right now. He is Scott Hamilton. He was the co-host or the host of the Scott Hamilton Show right here on FanStream Sports. He is the sports columnist at the Charleston Post and Courier. He's the guy that Paul Feinbaum calls when he needs to get a new take on college football. Welcome into the show, Scott. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Y'all okay?
I hope that last part's not true, because if you're supplying Feinbaum's takes, we got issues. Absolutely.
He gets a little off the reservation sometimes. I'll say that. But
yeah.
He overall though, he's no Stephen A. Smith. Do you guys watch in the morning when those two are going at it?
Yeah.
I never watched Stephen A. Smith.
I watched every now and then. Yeah.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. Don't lie to me, Tim.
Sounds like our show.
Don't lie.
What we do right here.
What do y'all want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk to you, Scott, about college football because I realized yesterday that we live in a world where Vanderbilt is in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama is ranked behind Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
We may have a 12-team college football expanded playoff for the first time, and that 12-team playoff may not involve Alabama.
It might involve Army.
May not. Yeah, it may have Army and Navy in it. How do you like that?
Not Alabama.
My column today is, I do my top 25 rankings, and they come out every Tuesday, and I try to have a theme each week. 1 week I had ad slogans to kind of break it down. 1 week I had Taylor Swift songs. This week I had conspiracy theories.
Oh, nice.
Because we've never seen anything quite like this. This season has been so unpredictable, and the narratives have been just so out of it, left field, that the entire season is almost contrived. I mean, to Tim's point, Alabama's already got 2 losses. Got 2 losses. I mean, that's the Armageddon down there as it is. Army, Navy undefeated at this point for the first time since 1945. And there's a real good chance, as Tim said, that one of them makes the college football playoff. Iowa State is good. It's blowing my mind, and I love it. And part of it is because of this thing that we were so, I don't know, we had a love-hate relationship with conference realignment. A lot of it's the product of that, man.
Yeah.
Look at what we saw Saturday night with Georgia and Texas. That was primetime theater that we don't get if the SEC doesn't gobble up Texas and Oklahoma. Look at the Oregon-Ohio State game. We don't get that unless Big Ten decides, hey, actually we don't get it unless Southern Cal decides to stay where it is. Think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just loving this, man. I think it's a blast. And if I'm Texas this week, and I don't know if you guys watch SEC Shorts, I'm going to give them a plug right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Vanderbilt is hosting Texas in Nashville this week. What happens if they beat the Longhorns, man? It's just going to be chaos. Because would that be their 5th win or their 6th win for Vanderbilt? I think it'd be their 6th to make them bowl eligible. Bowl eligible for the first time, I think, in 6 years. So
yeah, they're 5-2 right now.
I love it, man. Bring it on.
And we have A&M and LSU this weekend for the number one spot in the SEC. What the hell's happening? By the way, gig 'em, baby.
Gig 'em. That's right. Gig 'em. Or you got to do that little deal with the cheer guy.
No, we don't flip people off like that. Come on.
Yeah. Week 1, and LSU was taking a loss in week 1. That's as certain as the sun coming up in the east. It's going to happen. And I'm thinking, okay, this is the year that breaks Brian Kelly. This is the year that he finally says, you know what, I got to take my fake accent and my big buyout money and get the heck out of here. That he would have maybe left on his own because there's going to be a couple of good jobs open up north. But what we're seeing now out of LSU is a very good offense and a fully formed defense, which that's the big thing. LSU's defense has been so god-awful that's been its Achilles heel ever since Brian Kelly came to town. They look really good. In A&M, and we can run circles around this in a moment. Think what A&M would look like right now if the A&M fan base, God love their hearts, I trust them now with anything, if they had it went bonkers when Mark Stoops was going to be the coach. They look pretty smart right now. They look way smarter than those nut jobs in Tennessee.
I'm happy with the decision. I didn't want Stoops here. I love the Elko hire.
I had
no problem with it.
But it was almost like, okay, we're going to take one coach from a basketball school, then okay, we don't want him. We're going to take another coach from a basketball school, and one of them actually had head coaching experience who had some success at said basketball school. The other one had been at the basketball school for only a minute in a very weak conference, but it's worked out fabulously. And Mark Stoops right now, if I'm the University of Kentucky, I'm really having buyer's remorse for giving him that extension, 2 years ago. When he talked to A&M and he, was already had one foot out the door, I shouldn't have went ahead and slammed the door shut and not let him back. That program's broken.
Imagine if A&M had taken care of business in week 1 against Notre Dame, where we'd be right now. Think everyone would be going out of their minds.
If LSU takes care of business against Southern Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, the earth would be crashing into the moon, and it would be insane.
Oh, JP, you're on mute.
Ah, come on, man.
My bad. At least Brian Kelly smashing his hand on the table in that fake way actually worked, evidently. They really fired up his team. Gosh darn it. My best Tim Wall. Gosh darn it. Yeah.
Like that.
So I got to get your take on this, Scott, because I'm way too close to it. But this is what happened. What's happening at Florida State right now is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it from a team that went not just 13-0, but won 19 consecutive games in college football. And you can talk about week schedules all you want. Go look at those 19 games. There's quite a few SEC teams in there. It's unfathomable to watch a team that went 19 in a row now become the worst. And I do mean this in a very factual way. I can back it up with numbers. The worst team out of 132 in college football. It's never been seen before. I have all my reasons, but from where you sit, what is your take on this debacle in Tallahassee?
Well, first of all, I had shoulder surgery on this shoulder back in June, so I'm going to pat myself on the back with this one because last year I said that is not a good team, but they have a generational quarterback who covers up a lot of flaws, and I think that's one thing. The second thing is it shows the fallibility and the slight margin for error you have when you are constantly turning over the roster. I spoke to a longtime college defensive coordinator about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and we were discussing what's going on at Florida State. It's a culture problem. And it's not that they have a bad culture, but it's trying to inject that culture into all these guys coming from different places who were formed somewhere else. And now it's like trying to reshape them, but it's already down the road. Excuse me. And that's really hard to do. Some guys do it better than others, like a Lane Kiffin. He's really good at doing that. But the biggest part of that equation is being able to identify guys who are malleable, who you can work with, and who already maybe have a little bit of that culture mindset in you. Look, we use that word a lot, the C word, culture.
Yes.
We use that word a lot. But it really is true. And I think it's more important now than ever that we've got name, image, likeness. We got the transfer portal, that players are getting all these rights that they were denied in the past. Because if you can't get guys on the same page, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I think that's what we're seeing fail at Florida State. But we're able to see it succeed at places like Indiana because, a lot of those guys came from James Madison with Signetti, so they already knew the deal.
Exactly. That's that. He brought his culture with him and his players.
He brought his culture with him and his players. 18 of them, I think, something crazy.
Yeah.
But he was also able to identify players who already had those traits and would be more adaptable to that culture. Kevin O'Rourke, the quarterback from Ohio University of the MAC, he's the perfect prototype player for what they do at Indiana, schematically and culturally. Mike Norvell, he swung and he missed. He got lightning in a bottle last year.
Well, 2 years in a row, he hit the portal. He hit it. He drew well. And this was a complete whiff, starting with the quarterback. situation. I questioned this from the very beginning. If you've recruited a 4-star and a 5-star in Kromenhoek, and you don't get Cam Ward, you don't take the consolation prize. Unless you're getting a guy who's head and shoulders above everybody you got, you do not bring in and award a QB1. And you don't bring in a kid from Alabama and award him RB1 when he's not as good as Toafili. And I could say that about 6 more positions. And when you bring in guys who aren't as good and hand them the number 1 job, that's a culture breaker. That's a culture. Everybody around's going, what are you doing? What about me?
Hubris. That's hubris. Yeah. It worked. Oh, man, it got it to work last year. I can fix DJU. I'm the guy who can fix DJU. He was broken at Clemson. He goes to Oregon State, plays pretty darn good for Jonathan Smith, but he's toiling in anonymity. Playing at Oregon State ain't like playing at Florida State. It ain't like playing at Clemson. And DJU, for all of his God-given gifts, his biggest problem is between the ears. Nice guy, great guy, all-time human being, but you can see him turn into just basically a big statue because he's freezing.
How did he become a sloth overnight? I never saw him that unathletic. I mean, like, Jesus H. Crow, what the hell happened?
Is he coming back for a 6th year?
I see somebody will pay him. I don't know who. Maybe Holy Cross, but I don't know.
Baseball if I'm him. I mean, he's got evidently he's got an incredible baseball pedigree. I mean, I have to wonder if he can try to get maybe another year of football.
That would work better for him. You know, he's only got 3 plays he can go to: fastball, curveball, slider. That might work good for him.
He that curveball though.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't have to read a defense.
Well, I forgot though. They have a pitch clock now. Ain't no way he's getting off a pitch in 20 seconds. Hell no. With that wind up. Oh God, I feel so bad for the kid. I mean, it's bad. But I appreciate that perspective. And suddenly here come the Gators. That win over Kentucky kind of shocked me because obviously Kentucky went toe to toe with Georgia. Everybody had Billy Napier, dead man walking Green Mile, man, and now it's all of a sudden, whoops, this dude's going to make a bowl game. Sorry, Gators, you're going to have to keep him.
Well, I had that in my column. It's in the column today. Go to postandcourier.com. I actually had that. If he keeps his job, it's the biggest sign that this entire season was scripted from the beginning because he was dead man walking a year ago. He was. But here's the thing.
3 weeks ago, he was dead man walking. Yeah.
But, they, except maybe the Miami game, have they really looked terrible? Like terrible. I mean, have they? No. We've seen Florida State looks far worse, and they're on the other side of this rainbow. That's their 5th win right there. If they can steal one against Ole Miss. I really believe it. What better option is there out there? What better option is there out there? The better option than Billy Napier that they would want is going to be a coach who's either in the playoff or fighting for a playoff right up until the 11th hour. And that's when you start getting into some really dicey areas with regards to the transfer portal. The portal's about to open.
Timing.
Do we make a coaching? Yeah, the timing now is so
really
different.
Bad.
So I think status quo is the best option, man. I say give him another year. You're going to save a bunch of money in buyout. And you know what? It gives you an opportunity to start working behind the scenes if you weren't already, which I'm sure they were. Who are we going to get next year?
Right. And DJ Lagway would likely stay if Napier stay. If Napier leaves, I think it's open season on Lagway. So and that's your biggest asset right now. He's a hell of a player and can grow into something really, really special. All right. So as you see it right now, your playoff, what do you, we don't have to do all 12. We don't have to do all 12, but I guess, I mean, if ESPN's already telling me they're getting 5 SEC teams in, and of course, whatever ESPN wants, ESPN gets. It's their playoff. So, I mean, where do you see it falling right now?
Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and either A&M or LSU. I mean, I know I just expect one of them to fall off eventually. They might not. Yeah. They might win out. I don't know about 5 teams. I've been so hesitant to actually sit down and figure out the playoff because of the logistics of it. Like, I can look at my top 20 teams right now and go, holy crap, any one of these teams could realistically make the playoff.
Yeah.
And the wild card is the way it's set up with the top 4 conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a number 11 Iowa State or BYU get in as a 1 through 4 and get a bye.
Yep.
So it's just such a wild card right now, such a crapshoot. Colorado has a legitimate chance to make the playoff. Think about that. Colorado has a legitimate chance to make the playoff. You win the Big 12, you're going to be ranked. You're going to get in. I mean, I'm hesitant to do it right now. So I know we're going to have Oregon. I know we're going to have Ohio State. I presume Georgia. I mean, right now we're basking in the glow of that incredible game the other night, but Georgia has looked fallible at times.
Was that a Kirby Smart special though?
That was hell. They were hunting that defense, hunting, and I loved it. I got to be honest with you.
That dude is so. Even after the game, he couldn't even enjoy it. He was just yelling at anybody he could yell at. The officials suck. You suck. Everybody said we're nobody wanted us. Nobody believed in us. I'm like,
nobody believed in us. They won two of the last three.
Hey, you all picked against us. The refs were against us. How were you number one for like 18 years and like nobody believes in you?
I was at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for that game against Clemson. And the team I saw dismantle Clemson. It looks pretty good right now, by the way. That was more like the team I saw Saturday night. That was the Georgia War Machine on full throttle. And it makes me wonder what the heck happened in the first half of that Alabama game. What was going on? What were they doing or what were they not doing?
Yeah.
That made them get into such a deep hole against Alabama.
Yeah. And speaking of Clemson, FSU Miami is this week. Miami's probably going to lay 80 on FSU. So it looks like Miami might win an ACC championship. But I don't know. I mean, Clemson, Miami in the championship game, Clemson looks really, really good. I think they figured it out offensively and defensively. Yeah. They're pretty damn good. I'm just, because I've got nothing else left in my college quiver here. I got to just hate on Miami and think that they're going to choke. Not this week. They'll destroy FSU. But they've already – listen, the ACC War Room has already given them 2 games. Finally the ACC decides that way we need to protect our top-ranked team now that it's not FSU. And they've given them 2 wins, so good for them. But I think they're still going to stumble here along the way. But they could still get to the ACC championship. I think it's Clemson and Miami, and maybe both of them get in the playoff.
I think both of them get in. Even a 2-loss Clemson team would get in if that second loss is to Miami in the ACC championship. That's how it's going to work out. You're going to get 2. Maybe SMU, or maybe we're sleeping on SMU. That's a good.
Oh, I don't think they're that good.
Schedule plays out.
Nobody does.
They don't have to be that good.
But they are.
They don't have to be that good though. The schedule is so favorable that you're like Indiana. Indiana could finish the year 11-1. Is Indiana better than Ohio State? I mean, we'll find out when they play. But right now, can you say that? Even if they lose to Ohio State, there's a chance they get in because the schedule worked out well for them. They're going to be 11-1, top 15 Big Ten team. They're going to take them.
Wow.
Well, and we'll know more about SMU this week when they play the Dukies. So we'll have a better picture of them.
And you know what? Manny Diaz, God love his little heart. He's done a great job there. That's a perfect fit for Manny Diaz. Duke.
Hey, listen, Duke got outgained by FSU by 111 yards. Duke sucks.
That's why Manny Diaz is perfect for Duke.
He's perfect. Yeah.
And that's Mike Elko's team still, by the way, other than Riley Leonard leaving for Notre Dame.
That was a big hit, though. That was a big hit. Riley Leonard was an unbelievable player. And was he like a basketball guy too down in Florida?
Yeah.
He was in Florida, right?
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. Tim, you look good, man. I like that shirt.
Yeah, this is my 2020. When they canceled March Madness, I went and ordered this. Had it made myself.
You mean the year FSU was going to win it all that year?
Yeah. When they canceled it because of FSU, they made coronavirus just so FSU couldn't win the whole thing.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, everybody knows that
created coronavirus.
Had nothing to do with taking out Trump. It was all about taking out FSU's basketball team. That's what it was.
Always goes back to sports. Always goes back to sports.
Jesus Christ!
Are y'all done with me?
Yeah, you're dismissed.
Hey Scott, can we have you,
Scott? Awesome stuff, bro.
Can we have you back next week? You want to do this kind of on a frequency, regular thing?
I mean, how do we define it? I mean, does it have a label? Do I have a theme song?
I will make you a theme song, and I will make you an opening graphic.
Can it have like stars that pop out, like like something from the early '80s? Like Solid Gold or something.
And can we get him a microphone?
We'll get you a microphone too.
Okay.
I already made this graphic that you haven't seen yet with your little mumbling head over there in the corner. How you like that?
I'll be back. You tell me when you need me, and I will get mic'd up so that you hear me really nice.
That bunch of guys right there, I don't know what that looks like, but
some hoodlums right there.
Can you make them float? Can you make
That's
those
a bunch of
float?
Yeah,
old,
I'm
that's a
working
bunch of
on-
old white guys
I'm
right
working
there.
on
I don't know what
animating
the
it.
hell's going on there.
And then how did poor Norm Hitzkiss, the legend, get up there? How is he mixed in with this whole bunch? Poor Norm, I
Look at
swear.
Johnny's hair's out of control.
Johnny hates his
looks
picture.
Troll. Troll.
He looks like one of those gremlin dolls.
Johnny hates his picture.
You know what's funny is you and Tim, like if you switch them upside down, like Tim, like the if you turn them upside down, it's the same shape. Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. Too much
Bye.
fun.
Thank you, Scott. That's great stuff.
There he goes.
Yeah, get him a theme song, get him everything. Yeah, absolutely. Oh God,
Scott's a good dude, man. I like Scott a lot.
Right,
He knows his stuff, too.
he does. That was good. That was good fun. Guys, I could talk college football forever. It's just
Yeah.
it's so much fun, and